We're back at Villa Park for the second Sunday in succession. Unai Emery's side take on Scott Parker's Burnley as the teams in claret and blue battle it out in the Premier League. Villa looking to make it 4 wins on the bounce following that midweek win in Rotterdam in the Europa League.
Shot away, and Bizot has to deal with it in the near post. Watkins chasing it through, gets there and is brought down by the yellow card stands. Foul in the run, and as he comes to the byline, whips it in, there's half a chance there. Deep one, his body on the ground, and Bizot, what a save that was! Valente goes for goal, Bizot the save! Overrunning there, but the referee, when he's looking at waiting play, goes up more dangerous, going with a shot, another block pass to Fulham to keep it out. Punch with Buendía, oh yes! Emiliano Buendía has found the corner. So Marlon, who's rolled his man, Daniel Marlon. He's got three at the moment. Marlon trying to trick his way through, he's still going, went forward, John McGinn! Oh, what a start to the season the Villa skipper's having. And that is that. And Aston Villa a big final by 2-0. A really, really good performance from Unai Emery's side.
Yeah, what a night that was. And just 3 days on, we are back at Villa Park in the Premier League for Matchday Live. My name is Kate Tracy. Alongside me, two former Villans, Alan McInally, and former Villa captain, Andy Townsend. How are you, sir? Good to see you back.
I'm very good, Kate. Yep, looking forward to it. Looking forward to, hopefully, another really solid Villa performance.
Exactly. Hopefully this momentum can keep up, Alan. You're back for more.
I'll be disappointed if we don't win today. There you go. There's a shocker right away. I've put my head on the block. Listen, we were here, what, 6 weeks ago, and we were going home a little glum. I don't know if it was 6 weeks, the Crystal Palace game. But then, from then, I think we've looked a little bit better. I thought we dug in so well. I mean, Andy and I have played games in abroad, in European competition, where you think we are under massive pressure here. And we were under a bit of pressure the other night there. But with a little bit of lady luck and a little bit of grit and determination, they got through, which was a really difficult game. So, you know, coming into a game like this today, we should be coming in with a bit more confidence than we were even last Sunday.
We talk about how fickle football can be, Andy, and how much it can change in an instant. A week and a half is a long time in football to completely shift the narrative of Villa. Yeah,
that's very true. You know, momentum, all of a sudden, once you start to get it, and we've seen momentum at Villa Park, really, since Unai's been here, we've seen that very consistent theme with the home performances in particular. But on the back of a little bit of a slow start, and then now all of a sudden we're seeing a bit of that momentum, and it's amazing how quick it can turn. And once you've got it, you've got to fight to hang on to it. It's not a case of cruising. It's not a case of sort of all of a sudden coming out today against a team when pretty much everybody in the stadium today will be expecting Villa to win. Right, that's a different dynamic in itself. So you keep your foot to the floor. Keep your foot to the floor, and you make sure that you do whatever it takes.
It's so true what you just say there, because it's a very different battle that they're going to be facing with Burnley, because as you say, it's the expectation now because of momentum, but also because they're one of the 3 promoted sides for this season. So how do you balance those different levels of expectation?
Well, again, look, tactically, Unai's always on point, and he will make sure that they have. They'll have watched, they'll have detailed all the players exactly how they think the best way is to go around making sure they defeat Burnley. I've watched Burnley twice this season. Let me tell you, they're not a bad team. They work hard, Al, and they've been a little unlucky, I think. Scott Parker wouldn't want to say that. He wouldn't want to have anyone feeling sorry for his players. They've been a little unlucky in a few games. So again, take nothing for granted. No matter who you're playing in Premier League football, you know it's an opposition that can hurt you if you're not at your best. I think we've seen signs over the last couple of games, as Alan said, midweek, digging in one out. The Fulham game here, they turned that one round, and you're starting to see players just expressing themselves a little bit more and playing with that little bit more belief and that ruthless element you need.
You can almost say that little bit of momentum that Andy was talking about was the beginning of the second half against Fulham when we bagged the 2 goals.
Yes.
And we looked as if we were pretty comfortable, albeit Fulham had a little bit come back, but I think we always held them at arm's length.
Yep.
So I think from that point, I wouldn't say it was from the start of the Fulham game, considering we went down
3 minutes,
1-0, remember, yeah. But it's certainly been evident that it's been there a little bit. But Andy's spot on, and I just had a quick look when Andy was speaking there. They beat 1-0 by Liverpool, they drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest, they got beat 3-2 by Manchester United.
Yeah.
And that's
last minute.
I mean, that's sometimes like the toss of a in the last minute.
98th
exactly.
minute, that was.
So I mean, I think more than anything, I think you need to be up for a fight today.
Yeah.
I don't think MD and a lot of the Burnley fans would probably say, I think Villa's squad's probably better.
Yeah.
But if you're not up for a fight, we'll turn you over, and that's what we need to make sure we win as well today as the tactical side of things.
I want to ask you, because of course Villa were winless in those first 6, now looking for 4 wins on the bounce, 6 unbeaten. What do you think, or what would you attribute it to for the turn for Villa? Is it just a confidence thing, or has there been a tactical change you've seen? No, there's no tactical change, I don't think. I don't think the way we've played has been any different to any away game or home game, but I certainly think in terms of a little momentum with the I was going to say confidence there. You don't want to play without confidence, don't you?
No.
And you need to feel when you're tying your boots, you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I really feel I can see myself as a striker. I can see myself scoring. I can see myself getting past the defender. I can see myself having a shot. I can see the ball hitting the back of the net. So it's positive thinking all the time, and not necessarily, to answer your question properly, what's been the change. I think there's been. And I don't think the players have maybe worked any harder, but maybe the finger can be pointed at that, because he did say, as a collective, that they were a little lazy. Is that what he said? I want to get this right.
No, that's exactly what he said. If there's one thing, okay, I have seen us mix our game up a little better recently. Going a bit more direct, a bit more back to front, getting Ollie involved a little bit quicker, getting Morgan Rogers running onto things when the ball's bouncing up and in the air and defenders don't know where they are. And you've got to create a little bit of chaos at times, and sometimes I think because of the nature of the way the team plays, it can be a little slow.
Yeah.
It can be a little slow. When we mix it up, when you go bang, get those boys involved and get it up to them a bit quicker, see what they can do. Then you also create a little bit more space when you want to get it down and play a bit shorter. Just having that variety in the game, I think, makes a huge difference, and I've seen elements of that recently a lot more.
I've actually got a stat for you on that, just to quickly interject. There you go. It doesn't involve XG.
Thank goodness for that.
But we talk about the passive build-up play for Villa. 63.2 passes in between shots on average, which is the most amount out of the entire league.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah, so that just goes to attribute what you say, but also the element of surprise to be able to mix it up as well. Then, Alan, sorry, you were going to say? I was only going to say the mixing up thing, for me as a striker, my petted lip would come out really early in the game if the ball kept going nowhere near me and goes from right to left and in and out and right to, because I'm looking to go beyond the defender and in behind and get it and hold them off and do all the things that we were almost taught to do. And I don't think for 1 minute that's not been the reason Ollie Watkins maybe looked a little bit, he's not really like himself. It's because we don't get the ball to him, we don't get it in the box early enough. But over the last couple of games, that Andy quite rightly says, we've looked a little bit more aggressive in that final third.
Definitely.
And by the way, I'm going to mention this as well, because you saw the pictures when you saw Malin running at everybody. What you do see is John McGinn sprinting to make sure he's supported. Wasn't even sure he was going to get the ball. That might not have happened 4 or 5 weeks ago. It might have with John, but it might not with another midfield player.
Definitely, and I think it's happened, Kate, as a result of the start that's been a little sluggish results-wise. All of a sudden, there's more of an urgency. There's a need. We ain't going to score goals if we keep rolling it around on the halfway line. We've got to get it forward. We've got to get it up there. We've got to get our key players in position where they can go and do their stuff. And so as a result of that, we've seen, I think, a big improvement. And of course, the first time back at Rotterdam since 1982, so a wonderfully historic game that we had as well. Would you say that's been Villa's best game so far this season, Feyenoord? I don't, without question. Yeah. Well, without question. I thought we were a little bit lucky with the goal that I think they got. I think Kashi hits the deck early. I'm not entirely sure what the ref saw, but swings and roundabouts. Well, a little bit, I suppose, because we can say we've been outdone a couple of times with some of the referee's decision. But digging in
and remembering how difficult it is when you go away from home in Europe, especially to somewhere like Feyenoord, by the way, because they are ready to properly pull your pants down. Genuinely, they are. But in terms of the result and digging in and getting goals at the time we got them, I thought we were really good. And in the end, actually deserved the victory. And I think Van Persie admitted that.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Like you say, in his post-game presser, he definitely said that. And of course, two well-taken goals from John McGinn and Emiliano Buendía again, who we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. But should we bring some team news?
Yes, come on.
Right, this is going to be the first time any of us have actually seen this. So starting with Aston Villa. Is Emi Martinez back in goal after Marco Bizot had such a fantastic game on Thursday. Matty Cash at right back, Ezri Konsa, who's been a stalwart in defence so far this season. John McGinn, our captain, and a goal scorer of his last 3 games. Ollie Watkins up top, Luca Dean back in at left back alongside Pau Torres, Donyell Marlin, Lemaire Bogard, Morgan Rogers, and Boubacar Kamara. And on to Burnley. They have Dubravka in goal again. Kyle Walker, of course, their star signing of recent seasons. Hartman, Esteve, Tuanzebe, Foster, Jadon Anthony. Might he be the danger man? Luis Tranuna, Cullen, their captain, and Lauren there. Right, lads, starting with Aston Villa. Alec, I see you're just looking over your notes there. As I say,
we have literally the Burnley team, how it changed from the game they played against Manchester
we'll let you crack on with your notes and your research there, because as I say, we have literally just seen this.
That's his bets for the horse racing a bit later on.
May as well turn them all up now.
I just looked at the 12.55 at Ascot and the money's down already.
put them in the bin. They're definitely going to be of no use for that then. Yeah, so Andy, what do you make of Villa first and foremost? I guess we better start with the goalkeeper.
Yes.
Emi Martinez back in after he came off because of that calf strain in the warm-up in midweek.
Yes, yeah. Look, again, Emi, despite all the talk there was pre-season and maybe that Man United thing or whatever, look, he's our best goalkeeper. He's the best goalkeeper at the club, and he earns the right to still hold that mantle and to be given the shirt when he's absolutely ready and ready fitness-wise to play. He has to go in. I thought the goalkeeper the other night in Rotterdam was outstanding, played brilliant, made some great saves. But look, I'm very much in the camp of if people are right and they're ready, you play your best team, and Emi's our best goalkeeper.
And moving on to the defence, we've seen really good link-up play between Ezri Konsa and Pau Torres of late. That seems to have gelled more than we've seen in recent seasons, I guess. Is it fair to say?
What a good spot that is, by the way.
I know,
Andy told you to ask that, didn't he?
Go on then, you may as well back me up.
I think you're spot on. Honestly, Kate, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think the two of them look more comfortable than what Tyrone has, although obviously Tyrone, when he's in, he's never really let us down in terms of giving everything he's got. The fullback, I'm a little surprised. I still thought he might play Maatsen today.
Yeah. Would you say it's kind of a 50-50? Would you say it's a toss of a coin, or would you have preference dependent on opposition?
No, I like both. I generally like both. The only thing is, I don't know whether Maatsen's a bigger goal threat going forward, but I think Digne's delivery into the box is better. If I cast you back to only pre-season when Digne was crossing them in and Ollie Watkins had a couple of decent headers. But I think in terms of defence, I think I suppose with Tyrone out, it kind of picks itself. But and I'll go back to the goalkeeper. I think he deserves more credit than he's actually getting. I think he's still getting that one. Yeah, he's come in and did really well, but Emi's the number one. He is the number one. But the way he played against Fulham and then the way he played against Feyenoord, I think he gets a big pat in the back. And he's part of the back five then. It's not just the back four. He's a big part of that. And I think you can see the players gradually not warming to him, but trusting him a little bit more possibly. And I'm not saying he's the finished article, and I'm not saying he should replay. I'm just saying he's been a fit at the time when we've needed a proper fit because of the little run we were on, and I think the goalkeeper's full marks to him, genuinely.
Can I also ask about Morgan Rogers? All the talk about him this season, of course, and playing himself into form. He has not been shy. He has not been hiding away. No. And that in itself, does that not therefore free up space for the likes of Emi Buendía to come in or Ollie Watkins?
There's no question that Morgan now receives more attention, more detailed attention from the opposition than he would have ever been used to before. That's testament to how well he performed last season. Yep, so you're right, he will, there's no doubt, particularly if we go a little bit longer, okay, with the ball, particularly if we do transfer it that little bit quicker, then, you know, Kyle Walker, as quick as he is, he knows today that he's going to have, he's going to have a battle on his hands if he allows Morgan to get up and running and start travelling with the ball. That's the one thing I just want to now see him add to his game. He's been getting better in recent weeks. He's been working hard and he's doing his bit for the team. I want to see him get on the halfway line now on the half turn, receive that ball and power that first 20, 30 yards, because he's unstoppable. He's the, I almost go as far as say I don't think there's anyone better in the league at travelling with the ball from the halfway line to the edge of the box. And then once he gets to the edge of the box, I think he needs to be just a tad more selfish. Take some shots, hit them, be a little bit more. You have to at some point, don't you, Al?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we've even seen 75% at the best of Morgan Rogers yet.
No.
And if him and I were playing next to him, I think we'd be hoarse after the game shouting at him.
Yeah.
And including his distribution, because it's part of it. You know, you're running, you can't, when you run sometimes and you're trying to get up speed, your head is down, but you've got to look up, you've got to have a little bit of something to know where people are.
Yeah.
And he's got to have that better. But we haven't seen the better than 75% of Morgan Rogers. There's plenty more to come from Morgan Rogers. I was going to say to you, the midfield today, are you disappointed when Buendia's not playing? He'll be disappointed, will he not? I know he scored a couple of goals off the bench, but
yes, he has scored a couple of goals. Look, I think
horses for courses the way they play today.
I think it's so different, Al. These guys nowadays, they understand a little bit more that they're in and then they're out. There doesn't have to be anything sinister about it. It's just the way that the manager wants to work. Him and I would have been banging on the door.
I dread to think.
Yeah, you know, because you're thinking, hold on, I've played well and I've scored and we've won, and why aren't I playing? But I think it's just nice to have Emmy right back in the fold and fit and looking like he's contributing. And he's certainly doing that. And the last few times I've seen him play, he's always had an effect on the games. And so that's what you want.
Should we reflect on Burnley in just a moment, because we had better look back at Fulham's game, which of course was the FA's Play Safe campaign in promoting safeguarding within football by handing over the reins to children from Birmingham Children's Hospital to take over match day.
Good luck, guys. Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Do what? There you go, Grace can do it. You do it. You can put that down. There you go. Rolls. Now I have Finn and Grace with me here, who are going to be our Villa TV pundits for now. Finn, who's your favourite player?
John McGinn.
What is it that you like most about John McGinn?
Oh, I don't know, just his like enthusiasm for the team, and
he really gets them driving, doesn't he? He really gets them going.
Motivated.
Motivated. That is a perfect word. And what is it about Harvey Elliott you like most, Grace?
He's always just like passionate. He puts everything on the pitch.
Beautifully done. What a better way to tee up a VT. Enjoy this.
Higher, the games are tougher, so you don't get as many opportunities. So
I'm going to bring in our two special guests. Now they've got a question each for you.
Were you nervous beforehand?
I actually wasn't. because you're in control of it, I get more nervous watching my brothers play because you're not in control. Even when I was at the side, I got more nervous, but when you play, even if you make a mistake, you don't get any nerves because the lads will tell you.
How did it feel to score?
Brilliant. I was telling everyone, especially after the first half where I missed a sitter. But that's football. Sometimes you score them and you miss them. But it was a good pass from Emmy. Ollie made a run. It started to open up, and a couple of times in training I put a few past Jed like that.
And thank you so much for joining us and answering all of our questions. Finn and Grace, thank you so much. You've been an absolute joy today. A real pleasure with you two as well.
That one's a new guy, Monica.
And we'll let you.
More or less, try to break a little, try to be consistent. Sometimes not through the result, but being consistent in our demands. Okay.
How does the team feel after a win?
Happy and getting calm and getting balance, because in the table we were in the bottom. We're still being not so good that with those points we can feel better and we can feel positive for the next weeks. There you go.
Yeah, great initiative there, and definitely a day that the kids will remember for a long time. But back to today's game, and talking about Burnley, Scott Parker's side, we just looked at the team lineup there. You were going through your notes.
Yep.
One change for them. Tuan Zabi, who of course formerly of this parish, comes into the fray.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and we were thinking, how are they going to play away from home? And they were away from home against Man City, played 5 at the back, so wing backs, try to get Kyle Walker involved as much as they can and play with 3 defenders. It's just the big boy Ekdal's not playing. Boy Jaden Anthony, Florentino, Josh Cullen keeps his place. A good player, but Josh Cullen. Josh did really well when they were coming up and scored a lot of goals. He was very influential. Chachui, and then the big boy Lyle Foster, who I think's been there, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years now. It might even been Sean Dice that brought him in. I think it was probably back then. So, and he's a big lump, you know, he can hold the ball up well, but nevertheless, yeah, they're coming here trying not to lose the game. Let's be brutally honest about it.
That's the thing, Kate. Alan's right, that they've had their performances have been a little bit better than their results.
Yeah.
They now know that Villa all of a sudden are looking like they're bouncing. There's a bit of momentum. So I can't imagine Scott Parker's team sitting on the halfway line trying to press in our half of the field. No way. They're gonna bank up, they're gonna sit, and they're gonna frustrate, and they're gonna try and see if they can stay in the game for as long as they can. Of course, if they score early, who knows? Good luck to them. But the way I see them playing is their results will now dictate their mentality, and it will be stay in the game, keep it as tight as they can.
And the way, sorry, I was going to say, and you'll understand this, I think our 2 centre-backs are going to have to be clever today, because as soon as they get the ball, they'll try to look to get it to Foster.
Yes.
And Chuana and the boy Jaden Anthony, they'll be looking to try and catch us on the break if we get sucked in too much, in case we have so much of the ball, and that we need to be careful. The 2 centre-backs need to be really genuinely ready, that we don't get done over the top here today.
Very true, very true.
Can I ask you about that, actually, just a bit further into detail? We tend to associate Burnley with clustering the midfield, trying to isolate the wingers, and just how much that's going to frustrate Villa in conjunction with the low block that they offer. How do you overcome both of those things?
Well, your passing has to be nice, it needs to be quick, it needs to be precise as well, but we need to do exactly what we hopefully do, is push them back as a 5 then, and get the ball in the box, genuinely. Sometimes there's just no way. Sometimes you can't just play the ball through the middle. And it might not necessarily, when we get into that final third at the 18-yard box, it might be coming from a little bit deeper or onto the edge of the box for one of our guys to hold it up, and then you get players running about them. So we have to be, the passing has to be really crisp, it has to be really accurate, and make sure they're make sure they're chasing us more than us trying to get the ball back just because they might have an extra man at defence or midfield or whatever when we have the ball. When we have the ball, we have to be very careful today. We have to be really secure with our passing and pass through them, and that's what you'll probably try and do today, Emery, I would imagine.
They've been conceding goals.
Yeah.
You're up against a team that's starting to shed goals, then you know that we've got to keep our boys up front get John running and get him on the edge of this box, take shots, follow him in. You've got to do everything, I think, at speed and with a real intensity about it to keep asking questions of teams that are struggling and suffering and starting to concede goals. Just make sure you keep the foot to the floor and the throttle's really hard pressed. And that way, I think you'll make something happen.
First goal's important today.
First goal again, you know, because if we were to concede the first goal, like we did against Fulham, we turned that round really well. But you can't keep doing that. You can't keep giving teams a leg up and going behind in matches. You've got to get, like we've done the last few, get on the front foot and try and make it happen yourself. So I think first goal again, when you're playing a team that are struggling, it's very important, particularly at home.
Definitely so, and every single game in the Premier League, this season especially, is ever so tough. And this is something that Unai Emery alluded to in his pre-match press conference on Friday.
Every team in Premier League, they have good players, good coach, history, competitive teams. And Burnley, they are playing good, really good. And I appreciate his coach because he's been successful with Burnley and performing very well last year in Championship and starting the Premier League with this challenge to try to keep it for a long time like they did Burnley some years before. And of course, is now our opponent. Our opponent, we are so tight in the table, in the bottom of the table, and we have to focus the match and respect everything to try to get our best.
Yeah, as we say, you have to respect every single opponent in the Premier League. Even Robin van Persie said it in midweek that every single game is so tough. Just a bit more on Burnley. From what we saw of them in the Championship last year, Andy, defensively, how fantastic they were. Have you seen a similar structure, similar mould, similar tactics in the Premier League, or different?
It was never going to be so easy to replicate that, Kate. I mean, they were so... That was the biggest strength of their team, is that they just did not concede anything, didn't give anything up, and that always gives you a chance in matches. Coming into this league this season, Scott Parker would have known full well that it's not going to be enough to just sit there and maybe then go and just and pinch games, and no, it's not going to work that way. So they're still trying to find the right balance, keep hold of what they did very well, but they've got to add a little bit more goal threat, and they need to get over the line in a game. They need to work on that to boost their confidence levels up.
And confidence again, it is just the nature of the beast, isn't it? Exactly, Alan, that. And we were talking there in one of the breaks about the managerial changes in Burnley in recent years and how many different ideas that they've had, from Dyche to Company to Scott Parker now. There was a bit of debate over Scott Parker and what he was going to be able to do back in the Premier League again, times at Bournemouth and Fulham. What have you seen of him so far?
Oh, I think it's a really difficult job that Scott's got. I mean, let's be brutally honest, if they stay in the league, it's an incredible achievement. I mean, I off the top of my head, and actually I was going to look and I forgot to do it, was look how much money they spent and how much they, lads in, players out. It's not going to be more than 30, 40 million or something, and I'm pushing the boat out even saying that. So I think it's the crux of the team from last year and adding a little bit of gold dust, hopefully, that they can get. I mean, the unfortunate thing for them, after they beat Sunderland at Turf Moor, they then obviously conceded 3 goals at Manchester United, and then obviously the game against Liverpool, or whatever way it actually went. So he'd be disappointed they haven't picked up at least something after that pretty conclusive 3-0 against Sunderland. Again, a team who only had just come up with them, but certainly in terms of Scott Parker, I like him. I'm biased. I already like Scotty from...
He's a sharpish dress manager, I think that's fair to say.
Well, he's a really good lad, Scott.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Nice he's a good, and he's really good to talk about football, and he's not a dreamer. He's really quite like matter of fact. I know how it's going to be, and the players are just going to have to, this is my plan, and we go along with this one. And he's got another one today to try and get something to go back up the M6 with, and he knows it's going to be difficult at Villa Park. I
think the attitude, Kate, of Sunderland, Leeds and Burnley has been good. Yeah, it's been good for the league this season. It's been good. We don't want to see teams getting promoted and immediately looking like they can't cope. Again, I think Scott's got to be aware that he's got to try and find that real resilience and that mental toughness that they had in order to get out the Championship. And he's just trying to find the right way to add to that in terms of their attacking play without becoming vulnerable. And that's difficult against very, very, very good players, which you find in the league.
From Monday to so remember, they've had the whole week to work on this.
Yes.
And probably watched their game on Thursday evening, but Andy has used a brilliant word there about the vulnerability at the back that they've got. That's something they have to, as a team, as a squad, really address and get together. So if I'm moving here, I need to make sure Andy's coming with me. If he's attached on a piece of string, nobody gets caught dreaming, ball watching. That's something they'll have to work on, because that's what Emery works on with us, making sure everybody knows where they're meant to be when the ball's in a specific part of the pitch. That's important.
Who's the goalkeeper today? Who's it? Dubravka.
Dubravka.
It is, well, he's an experienced guy.
Yes, very.
So again, he's got very important for your goalkeepers. You see Emmy doing that all the time in front of experienced defenders. He's got a Villa, always talking to him. He's got to make sure he keeps his back three central defenders right today.
Right, that's enough on Burnley then for now.
Come on.
We've done a deep dive, haven't we, into Burnley there? But no, it was justified all the same. But we are going to look
still
back.
Still in claret and blue, aren't they?
They copied us in 1910. There's a stat you didn't think I was going to pull out of the bag, did you? There you go, a little bit of intel for you. But we're going to look back at the Fulham game in just a bit, as well as a couple of standout performances on the back of this break.
Villains, we wanted to tell you about some updates to our club memberships. There are 5 types of membership on offer, all with some new benefits. First is an adult membership. With this, you get full access to Villa TV content, including all pre-season matches, 100 points towards your position on the season ticket waiting list, continued priority access to home match tickets, and much more. Up next is our women's team membership, which now offers light access to Villa TV, so you can follow all our women's team content, access to exclusive women's team events, and discounts on match tickets to watch the women's team. Next, our video memberships give you the option of full or light access to Villa TV content, as well as full or light access to exclusive club events. And finally, our junior membership options offer light access to Villa TV, continued priority access to home match tickets, an exclusive welcome pack, and discounts on match tickets to watch the women's team. Meanwhile, our 0 to 2 membership remains unchanged. These memberships are the best way for fans to get even closer to the action. Stay tuned for more and up the Villa!
Welcome back. Now, of course, last Sunday, Fulham were the visitors to Villa Park. Aston Villa, after a tricky start, came good in the end for a 3-1 win.
He manages with the flick and he's found the far corner. Dream start for them. Now McGinn has nipped in. John McGinn with a chance. Oh, it's gone wide. Into the penalty box now. Trying to make an angle for a shot. Fires one and it gets blocked by Matty Cash. Watkins again trying to time his run. Spot him in. Might find it all the way through to Ollie Watkins. Lobbed in the goalkeeper. It's in! Ollie Watkins celebrates in front of the North Stand. So Lucas Digne for Aston Villa. Goes for goal to the near post. He needed a save from Bert Leno. The challenge of Bogart. Both of them end up on the ground and there goes on as Buendía picks it up. Here's John McGinn now on his left boot for John McGinn. Goes for goal and he finds it as well. Super John McGinn puts Aston Villa ahead. Thanks for Aston Villa. Sends the ball into the inside channel for Ollie Watkins to pull it back. Rogers, Morrison, there it goes. Emiliano Buendía. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Aston Villa. And Aston Villa have rocketed into this second half. They now lead Fulham by 3 goals to 1. Well, at the other end, Fulham have got a chance now. It's drilled. Oh, what a save on the line from Concert. Referee says that's that. And Aston Villa celebrate their first Premier League victory of the season.
Welcome back. Now, of course, that game against Fulham didn't get off to the best of starts. Jimenez's goal in the first 3 minutes. So we spoke to John McGinn last week, and he said, actually, he felt that Villa did start well. It was just frustrating, Andy, that Fulham landed the first blow.
They did, and that's, again, can be difficult sometimes. You know, you're at home, everyone's buzzing and expectant, then all of a sudden, bang, you go behind really early on. That can knock you out your stride. To be fair to the lads, they very quickly, I thought, got on the front foot and then gradually started to get back in the game. And again, I always felt, watching that first half last week, that something was going to happen, that a goal just might happen for us.
And like you say, they started playing pretty centrally then. It was about the 30th minute marker. They started going long. Of course, Ollie Watkins managing to put the penalty miss to bed with a goal, and such an Ollie Watkins typical goal, Alan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going to talk about the start against Fulham actually, because we sat just over on the far side. We were disappointed it went in, but listen, how many times did I talk about, don't worry about hitting a 40-yard ball. If it goes over the top and the defenders don't deal with it, we've got players with pace that can really hurt you. It was a good finish actually, a really good finish, because he has to be pretty precise. He's getting chased by the big boy Bassi. He's definitely onside, and this is maybe why Digne's playing today, you know. This is maybe exactly why Digne's playing today, is that ball over the top. And let's look how many times that he's looking to try and get in beyond Ollie Watkins, because that, you know, when you do it one Sunday, you don't not do it, you know, like 2 or 3 times the following Sunday. So, and you can see it's just literally come inside the bar. So really, really good stuff from Ollie Watkins. Delighted for him as well.
He's always so generous, Ollie, in terms of his running and his commitment. He'll offer himself in behind time and time and time again, even if it doesn't arrive. So don't disappoint him. Every now and again, you've got to look to go that bit earlier, a little bit quicker into him, and he can do that. It's a great finish.
And Buendia's goal, which we're going to see presumably, comes from Ollie Watkins doing exactly what Andy just said there, being unselfish, made the run inside the channel, gets the ball and then cuts it back, and then there's chaos for Fulham, and then Buendia sticks in the back of the net. So don't worry about necessarily putting Ollie Watkins left or right of the goal posts, because he'll make the run for you, and he's quite happy to run in behind, and I hope he gets a few chances like that today.
We're going to look at that goal in just a moment, but we better look at John McGinn. Again, Captain Fantastic at present, setting...
Who?
Super John McGinn. There you go. Yeah, and Captain Fantastic, the way that he just sets for tempo, sets for tone, and Andy, he's been rewarded with goals of late as well.
When John first arrived at the club, he was exactly where he scored this goal. I think I remember his debut game at Spurs when he scored that day. And that's what I love about John. I think he's a player that could have played in any era, yeah. John, because he can do a bit of everything. I like players like that. And I want to see him doing more of that, because he's got this absolutely in his locker, the ability to drive into space, and when he hits them, they stay hit. And that was a great goal. Really, really good play.
He's a Swiss Army knife, isn't he? We've got 2 of those, really. Bogard as well, but John McGinn is the epitome of Swiss Army knife, wherever he's needed.
You need that. Look, people are backing off, white shirts backing off. Beautiful. Don't disappoint them. Let it go, fly, let it fly. And he hits it sweet and true, right into the corner. Great strike.
And the only thing he was thinking about when he spoke to us afterwards was the chance he missed in the first half. And it's amazing how chances like that stick with you regardless of what's happened in the game.
What was that? What was that? I can't remember.
Remember, he came through here. He came right through here.
He's almost stuck in
he tried to curl on the top corner.
Correct.
He's got the radar out of whack.
Yes, he said he was trying to pass it in, but
But I mean, I shouldn't mention that because the goal was so good and it gave us a really
but he mentioned it. Like I say, it was the first thing he said.
Yeah, because he knows he's like, well, 10 goals, 12 goals, 15 goals, and he knows that was a chance, that was a cheeky chance. But nevertheless, more importantly, the whole performance was massive from us in the second half last week, and we deserved to win in the end. It was a super goal by John.
And it was the second goal in 40 games in the Premier League then. He's been doing much better in terms
of
you
just a stat woman today.
I've done my work this week, you might be able to tell, but a little bit of homework goes a long way, doesn't it? But we were talking about that and matching his European goal scoring form, where he's got a much better strike rate in that, and how satisfied he was to be able to translate it to the Premier League. But he also said how much tougher it is to translate it to the Prem.
Yes, it is. It is. Look, it's not easy, and those over the years that have been able to find the back of the net from midfield positions on a real consistent basis, I think when you look at most of those, they are very, 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 very good and top players. John has the capability to get more, but he's such an honest boy. He'll do stuff back on his own 18-yard box. Yeah. He's not looking to just be the go-to man in terms of a goal from midfield, but he can do it, and I applaud him for that, being able to do a bit of everything. It's important that he's back there helping out in front of those central defenders, but it's vital that he gets himself, when he senses something happening and he can see a move developing, just get in that box and get on the end of things. That's
maybe the reason, actually, just thinking what Andy was talking about there, that Kamara and Bogard play today.
Yes,
it might give John the opportunity, Andy, to get into those areas that you want him to be in, to be a goal threat.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. He knows, you know, sometimes as a midfield player, when you see him move developing, you're sort of looking over your shoulder because you're thinking, are we all right there before I even go? John wants to be, he wants to have that instinct in his game where he can just go and sense where you, and it's amazing. You start getting a few and all of a sudden it drops for you and you can go on a bit of a run. Let's hope he keeps it going today.
I tell you what, we'll come back to Emiliano Buendia's goal for the third goal just so, because we're going to actually look at John McGinn's other 2 goals that he's been scoring of late. Take a look back at these. Now, Bologna goal, of course, much needed win at that time, and he managed to come good, forcing the issue, and what wasn't an easy game, Alan, at all.
No, it was a really tough game for us, actually, because we were in the middle of a kind of weak spell, if you want to call it that much. But yeah, I think the good thing about John McGinn is he's certainly in the last 3 or 4 games, he's been in the right place at the right time, and as a skipper there, he knows that the ball might end up coming inside the D. So he's almost on the prowl there, and I think he said he shinned it into the back, but it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter
as long as it was on target, it hit the back of the goal, and it was a huge relief that night when John got the goal. Huge relief. And from then on, even to be fair, the goalkeeper played well, and to be fair, Bologna actually pushed us. But you can see the chaos when we get the ball in that final third, and John's only manages to sneak it into the corner. So it was a really, really important goal. I mean, God knows how many important goals John McGinn scored for us, but there'll certainly be plenty, and that was one of them.
And how he's come good. Like you say, at that time, it really was so tricky.
Oh, what a shin.
That could have,
what a shinner.
That could have even been a knee owl, that, when I look at it.
Where is he? Where is he? Get him over here. Get him over here.
No, but, you know, it doesn't matter. Again, and that's what happens. All of a sudden, you start taking a chance. You start hitting them that bit early.
Right, watch him here. Watch him.
Marlon does all the work at this point.
It's a great run, that. And look at that, how it breaks for him.
In the right place, right time.
You know, and there have been so many good goal-scoring midfield players down the years that you see do that, and you think, well, it's ended up dropping on a sixpence for him. But he's done it because he's made that great run on the overlap. And there you go, just tucks it away.
We're not going to see it again, or maybe we are. So what you don't see is where John McGinn standing in the halfway line. Guesson's just on the other side from Malin, and he sprints. Here he comes, here he comes. Look at him sprinting, because he knows that just Guesson and Malin might not be enough, and he takes the chance. I mean, how many times have you taken a chance and you think, I can't believe that's popped to me?
Yeah,
can't believe it.
It does, Alan. It's amazing how often things just start. We spoke about momentum, Kate, at the very top of the show. It's amazing when things start happening. All of a sudden, it continues. So keep getting in that habit of getting in and around it. I'll be staggered today if we don't see a lot more of that from John.
Yeah.
He'll do that today. I'm sure he will. When those balls are being delivered long, that's always your moment as a midfield player. When someone's being delivered over 40 odd yards, that's when you can make a run. When people are doing that, and you can get a bit of space.
Yeah.
And that's what he does very well. I think really well.
And just on that, and again, we talk about sort of those longer balls and being right place, right time. Is that work rate? Is that instinct, or is it a combination of both?
I like that instinct, because it is sometimes for players, you just have that instinct. Any time I played with someone that used to win a lot of headers, I was always trying to I was always preempting him winning the header and me getting the second ball then, and then I can drive at the goal or something, or expecting. You can almost tell when someone's not going to win the header and it's going to drop to you, because the two of them are fighting for the ball so much that I'm going to be first to react and get it better. So a bit of everything really. And being in the right place at the right time sometimes can happen for you 2 games, 3 games, 4 games in a row. And John will be sitting in there thinking today, with the manager's role he's given him, which we were thinking he might play a little bit further forward, he's thinking he's scoring. 100% John McGinn will think, I'll score against these today.
Yeah. And talking about work rate and instinct, we're going to look back at the third goal for Emiliano Buendía against Fulham. And the way that he has just been revitalised this season. He had that horrific injury with the ACL, but the way that he's come back and taken some of these goals, Andy, has been fantastic.
Well, it has, and you know, look, Emmy will have spent a long time watching when you're injured. It's always a tough period, that, particularly as he's been used to playing on a regular basis. I like him. He's a bit different from everything else we have. He's obviously, listen, he's a smaller guy, so he doesn't want to get too involved in all the physical stuff and leave that to others. Get in good areas, get on the half turn, just hover in behind midfield players and in front of defenders. And you know, he's popped up with a really, really vital goal. That was an important little spell in the game where Villa got on top, and that third goal was the one that clinched the game, no doubt.
And of course, we're looking at the Feyenoord goal now as well, which again, Alan, great to see him translating it to Europe.
Well, exactly. Maybe even more important for us, because this was obviously a place that was always going to be a difficult game and a difficult play. But just the touch, a little bit of finesse, pops to him, one touch, wee bit of a roll, and then a really good finish. He's almost playing. You know what he's almost playing like? He's almost playing like with a cape and a mask on. You know, he's trying to ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not Dick Dastardly. It's somebody else. I can't remember the cartoon. Zorro. That's it. It wasn't Zorro. But you know, he's trying to almost ghost into places that people don't want him to be or don't expect him to be. But that was a really, really good finish. Real quality finish. And someone, all of a sudden, you think, go on then, go on. Shows how confident you can be. Show how confident on the ball you can be with us as well as chipping in the odd goal. And I'll never forget when we were at we played Roma and he scored the free kick, and I was like, I just wonder whether stuff like that this season might just force him into the team more often than what Unai Emery has actually wanted him.
We have a lot of powerful players. Morgan's a powerful player. John is a powerful player. Then you need someone to be a little cuter than that sometimes.
Cape and mask.
Cape and mask. Tell you what, I'm waiting to see him come out today with this mask. Is he on horseback as well? Or not?
Just to edge E into everything.
He's coming out the back of Morgan Rogers.
But no, he is. He's a bright footballer, and he's got to get himself into those areas where people can't get close to hit him and tackle him and prevent him. He's got to make sure he's aware of all that. But I really like him. It's good to see him back fit.
And at the other end, Marco Bizot. We spoke about him at the top of the show, but man of the match performance after man of the match performance. He was interviewed after Feyenoord, Alan. The fact he was called upon at the 11th hour, yet pulls out that level of a performance. I don't know what the result would have been if he hadn't saved those early chances.
Well, yeah, who knows? I thought he was really good. I thought he commanded his 6-yard area really well. There's a difference being a good goalkeeper coming out and taking crosses that are going to the back post. But I like a goalkeeper that commands his 6-yard area really well. I mean, Andy and I are saving that one. That's just one for the real. But the one in the second half, there was two in the second half, that his position was really good and his anticipation was excellent. Look at that. We're saving that kid.
Yeah.
We're definitely saving that.
I might have even held that one. No,
but in terms of, let's see that there. See his reaction quickly to the ball.
Very good.
No chance for them to get the thing. And you can see he moves really quickly. It's all about the movement of his feet.
Top draw, that is really to come flying off your line, make yourself as big as you can, look, and get an important block on it. Really good. And there were spells in that game, final, particularly the first half. They were very much on top of the game. You need your goalie. Always need your goalie to produce a big performance away from home, and he certainly did that.
And incidentally, just I know briefly we're going to go to a break, I think. How important his performances have been, because we expected Emi Martinez to be in goal all the time, and we're thinking, oh no, Emi's not in goal. He's now put him in a position where people are in the stadium now giving it, that's okay. Bizot's done absolutely nothing wrong for us, and that's how we should be thinking about him. That's how good he's been.
And that's exactly it, because, and it is of no disrespect to Robin Olsen whatsoever, he was fantastic as number 2 for Villa for so many years, such a good guy to have about the place. But of course we lost him because he went back to Sweden, contract ran out at that point. So you are wondering, who's going to want to come in to be touch?
There you go, well played, son.
Because you are wondering who's going to be number 2 to the world number 1. Who's going to be happy to come in at that point? So he signed Marco Bizot in the summer. He's 34 years of age, experience. None of us probably expected him to play as many games or as many minutes as he has, but he's risen to every occasion. That's what you need.
It's what you need. It's a very difficult job being a number 2 goalkeeper.
Absolutely, Andy.
People think, oh, they don't do nothing. They're sitting there half the time and they're watching. Let me tell you, when you go in, you've got to be ready to go in and you've got to perform, just like he has done over the last couple of matches. It's not easy to do that, and to accept maybe that also you're not going to play as much as you would like. But when you do play, you've got to be ready and you've got to perform. And it's priceless. Having a number 2 goalkeeper that you can rely on, you trust, and that the boys, when he goes in, go, yeah, he won't let us down, he'll do it. That is worth its weight in gold, it really is.
Should we hear from Unai Emery again? Second part of his pre-match press conference, when he discussed getting his side's confidence back.
How much of a morale boost was it winning against Feyenoord on Thursday?
Very important, firstly because we are getting confident, we are feeling stronger collectively and individually in everything we are working, and the result help it. But we are very, very demanding, and we want to be consistent overall in all the competition we are facing. And Europa League, of course, is something we are motivated and excited, and the first 2 matches we won, and through it, of course, we can feel confidence and we can feel comfortable for this way in this competition. And in Premier League matches, we are under our expectation or our demand to try to be consistent and to get more points. The last matches, more or less, we are performing, we are competing, we are getting good results. And the first objective I have for Sunday is don't relax. Now is the moment. We have to push more than normal, because on Sunday, after our start in Premier League, and of course before the next break for the international matches, is a very, very important match.
Welcome back. Now, you might be treated to some incoming balls yet again here. We are stood right next to where Burnley are currently warming up, and balls are flying in left, right and centre, so you could well be treated to a "you've been framed" clip in just a moment. But on confidence, and the confidence that Aston Villa now have to take forward, it sounds like an obvious thing to talk about, Alan, but it is so true. And we've mentioned the word confidence time and time again already on this show. Just how vital is that now for Villa?
Huge. And not only that, you've got 30-odd, 40,000 people with the same kind of confidence that, you know, Villa have turned a little corner. We look a little bit more dangerous in certain situations, and the players have to maintain that, genuinely. You know, the confidence will come from, you know, 5, 6 passes crisp together, good movement. Andy will tell you, we start well, we put them in the back foot, we score first, we win. I mean, it sounds really stupidly easy, but they're already have lost 4 games out of 6, a draw, and a result against Sunderland. They're coming to Villa Park. This is a big difference, And now playing against a Villa team that look as though we've started to get a little bit of that confidence you're speaking about.
It's so interesting. I was actually listening to an opposition view preview on the way up today, and this Burnley fan was basically saying, oh, for goodness sake, like it's sod's law, the fact that Villa decide to come good and start building this momentum just when Burnley decide to go to them. And that seems to be the general thought process of Burnley fans today. Would you agree?
Yeah, because they've been suffering a bit lately. They'll have seen their team competitive in a lot of matches, but coming out on the wrong side of it. And as you say, they'll have also seen a big improvement in our results recently. So I don't think they'll be under any illusions, Burnley, today, that they know they're in for a particularly tough game. Even though our boys have played in midweek, this isn't straightforward for them. It's going to be difficult. Can
I ask you, from what we have seen in the last few games, what qualities have you seen from Villa where they look like the team from last season still?
Well, I thought in that first period in Feyenoord in particular, I thought the blocks, people screaming out to throw himself in front of a cross, throw himself in front of a shot, trying to block things, trying to deny, trying to do anything that you have to do to stop that ball going in the net. We had a little bit of luck as well with the one that they had chalked off, yes, but I think there was a little bit of hesitancy in our game, I thought, defensively at the start of the season. A little bit unsure, and we conceded a few goals. I felt a bit soft. Now all of a sudden there's a real determination to keep it out, and that comes with winning, and that comes with a bit of momentum, and that's good to see.
Alan, I'll ask you the same question. What qualities have you seen that replicates last
Just what
season?
Andy said.
Oh, there you go, copy and paste.
No, I tell you, in all seriousness, hang on, I checked the notes. It was on your note, just what Andy said. No, I
Kempton 405.
And also, all the other stuff that Andy's talking about, the indecisiveness of defence, etc. we are more of a goal threat now.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. Seriously, in the last 3 games, we have been a bigger goal threat, which means we get the ball into areas, and wide areas, we get it into the box. We're not only looking to try and play through, but if Digne or Pal, Torres or whomever can play that one in behind the fullbacks, or even more importantly, if Ollie Watkins makes that movement almost towards whoever's got the ball, and then turns and sprints over the top, that's a goal threat. That's what we've been, and that's how we scored his goal the other day against Fulham, and that's what I want to see today. We've been a much bigger goal threat.
Can I talk to you about going into an international break? We know the start of the season is always so top-heavy with these international breaks, Andy. How important is it to go into that break with good feeling and with confidence for your domestic form?
I think it's really good. I do genuinely think it is important. It's great to when the boys finish today, and if they've got 3 points in their back pockets, and they know then they're getting their boots and they're getting ready to go and meet up on international duty, you bounce into that international camp. You walk through the door and you know that, oh, you lot are playing well, you lot have picked up, and you just immediately feel so much better about yourself, as opposed to maybe going in to an international fixture where you're not playing quite so great, where you know that the team's not being so good, and you might not even be playing for your country. So I think it's really important, Kate, that they go into that on the back of a real solid win. Expected to win today, so it doesn't matter how well they win, there'll be an expectancy, but it'd be lovely if they do. They'll feel better about themselves.
Is that true, Alan? What Andy was just saying there, that when you go on international duty, you are discussing your domestic form, or you're saying about, oh, you had a good game the other day. Is that the conversation?
If I was playing with Aston Villa today and we beat Burnley, I'd be going to the lads at Chelsea. You were lucky. Yeah. How lucky were you, by the way? We beat Burnley 3-0 here on Sunday. It was easy. Can't believe you made it that hard work trying to beat Liverpool. You know, stuff like that. You carry little nuggets with you, etc., etc. Just because that's the way football lads are when they get together like that. Yeah. So it's important that the boys, well, it's important for the football club. Let's face facts. It's important for all of us that we get a result today. But in terms of the lads that are going to be playing for the country, it's always nice when you win at the weekend and you're like that. I can't believe you got beat by whomever. We need to make sure we win. Not for that reason, but we need to make sure we win today for a football club, regardless of individual football players.
You know, Jack Charlton years ago, right, we used to meet up and he'd be on the coach. We'd all be sat there and he'd come over to me and Ray and Stan and Big Paul. And he'd say, I watched Villa last week. He said, Andy, you were useless. You were hopeless. He said, Ray, you never got a kick. Big Paul, where you were supposed to be marking the fella. You know, it was just like a big Mickey take all the time. Yeah. But it's always lovely when you know that you're playing well, really, and that you're winning matches when you go off to your international fixtures. It's great.
We better just get a quick word on that, actually, about the 3 England call-ups who have become stalwarts. Ezri Konsa, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, called up yet again. When you're seeing the likes of Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden not making the England camp this time around, testament to them.
Do you know what? The 3 of them now, if they're picked for England, I can't remember who England plays, a friendly against Wales, whoever it is. Anyway, let's just say it was Brazil in the cup final. If any of them are picked, I think the country's happy.
Yeah.
That's how well they've done. That's how much of a big of a pat in the back I'm going to give you, because I don't like speaking about England, but I'm happy to speak about the 3 lads. And now the lads have put themselves in a position where if they're picked for the country, I think the country goes, yeah, done fantastic at Aston Villa, deserves to get a chance.
That didn't stick in your throat at all. Well done there. A proper Scotsman. Right, key battles today. We've only got a couple more questions before we wrap up the show. First of which, key battles today. What are you expecting to see, Andy?
Well, look, key battles, as ever, as a midfield player, you're always thinking, if we can be dominant in that particular area of the field, if we can get the lion's share of possession and start looking forward, which we're doing better. So for me, I think be brave in the middle of the park, win your tackles, win your second balls, anticipate things on the front foot, feed those boys in front of you. I think if we do that well, I've no doubts we'll win the game.
You're not allowed to copy and paste his answer.
No, I won't, I promise. With the 3 main defenders and the 2 wing backs, the wide areas is where we need to be good today. We need to put them. He's playing those 3 main defenders and 2 wing backs to try and get them forward. We need to make sure they spend half the time looking along the line so they're not offside. And that wide area is where we need to be better. And we need to make sure we get in behind the field, which is not easy the way they play, but that'll give us more space where Andy Townsend likes to play, right in front of the edge of the box, right in front of the D. I expect to have at least 3 shots on target in the first half, all from midfield players.
There you go. Then a bit of XG chucked into the mix as well.
No, I don't like XG.
You were close. You were so close to saying
If
XG.
Andy Townsend and I were playing today, the XG would be 800.
Exactly that. Right, lads. Well, we've got a minute left, so predictions time. Andy, you're up first.
Yeah, I believe we will win the game today. I predicted against Fulham. I said we'd win 2-1 against Fulham. I think it'd be a little bit more straightforward than that. I'm going to go 2-0. Got to work hard, got to play well, of course, but I do believe we'll get over the line with a clean sheet, 2-0.
Nicely done, Alan. Prediction?
I'll go back to Fulham result, 3-1. Happy days if we get 3 points, but I think 3-1 today, and of course Mr. Watkins to score.
Oh, there you go, and given the scorer as well there. Well, lads, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we'll be back for a post-match show as well, so looking forward to speaking to you again there as the sprinklers have started to be turned on again. So I'm going to quickly wrap this up, but just to let you know, Aston Villa women's currently 2-0 up away at West Ham. But for live audio commentary for today's game, Mark Regan alongside Ian Taylor.
We wanted to tell you about some updates to our club memberships. There are 5 types of membership on offer, all with some new benefits. First is an adult membership. With this, you get full access to Villa TV content, including all pre-season matches, 100 points towards your position on the season ticket waiting list, continued priority access to home match tickets, and much more. Up next is our women's team membership, which now offers light access to Villa TV, so you can follow all our women's team content, access to exclusive women's team events, and discounts on match tickets to watch the women's team. Next, our video memberships give you the option of full or light access to Villa TV content, as well as full or light access to exclusive club events. And finally, our junior membership options offer light access to Villa TV, continued priority access to home match tickets, an exclusive welcome pack, and discounts on match tickets to watch the women's team. Meanwhile, our 0-2 membership remains unchanged. These memberships are the best way for fans to get even closer to the action. Stay tuned for more and up the Villa!